For being with us. You're with the news here on Mirror Now. My name is Apurva Sridhar. It is day 2 of the domestic flights that have resumed, and there is still a lot of confusion on ground with regards to the cancellations that are taking place. On ground, there are massive cancellations that are taking place, which again is leaving the passengers in the lurch, as several of them are receiving the information upon reaching the airport, and this is causing a lot of confusion on ground. Now, newly, we understand 100 scheduled departures have been cancelled in Mumbai, and over 20 scheduled departures have also been cancelled in Bengaluru. Remember, this follows the day 1 of the domestic flight resumptions, which also saw similar scenes of chaos and confusion at several of the airports as passengers continue to wait for long hours at the airport upon hearing the news of their cancellation flight. Now, we are getting updates from every airport at this point. Let's start with the national capital. At the Delhi airport, we begin to understand the confusion still remains over the number of flights that have been cancelled on day 2 as well. Meanwhile, the DGCA sources have told Mirror Now that the onus of the cancellation of the flight lies on the airlines. In fact, sources say that flights have been cancelled due to uncertainty of the resumption of operations at several airports. Sources have also said that many airports like Mumbai, Chennai and Hyderabad have a restriction on the number of flights permitted, which has led to several flights being cancelled at the very last minute. Let me go across to my colleague Ayushman, who's joining me live, getting us those updates there. Ayushman, good morning. Yesterday, we saw a lot of confusion on ground. There were a lot of angry passengers who had questioned why there is no prior intimation of the cancelled flights. What is the situation on ground today on day 2, especially with DGCA sources now telling us that the onus of the cancellation of the flight solely lies on the airlines?
Yes, Apurva, in fact, this is what has been told because of the last moment changes which we saw from the state of West Bengal, from Maharashtra, in particular in Mumbai, where only 50 flights were allowed. That has actually led to the massive cancellation that we have seen. We already know, Apurva, that 1/3 of the capacity of the airlines has been told that they can function. Now, when at the end moment, when the routes are open and the airline has opened the booking, when people have booked the ticket, when the state officials informed the DGCA that they cannot open the airport for regular operation, that actually led to the massive confusion, and that was the reason why large number of cancellation you are seeing, not just from Mumbai but also Bengaluru, because the flights which are scheduled to go to Mumbai, they will definitely be reduced by 25. There will be only 25 flights allowed, and that is the reason why the cancellations are there. Now, if you see here, this is the board, Apurva, which shows the status of flights today. Merely you can see almost there, cancellation is not there. Not much flights are there which have been put in the cancellation category here. The Delhi airport officials we spoke to, they said that yesterday the cancellation, because of the last moment changes, we saw the cancellation, though official numbers haven't yet been shared with us as to what is the number of cancellation of flights, departure flights so far. But for now, we can tell you that it was the cancellation mess that we saw yesterday. It was because of the last moment of confusion that the state had on the resumption of domestic circle, which led to the kind of chaos that we witnessed yesterday on the airports.
All right, so if flights are still getting cancelled, Ayushman, are at least the passengers being given prior intimation about it? Because yesterday, Ayushman, we saw, and you also spoke to several of them, who had reached the airport, and only upon reaching the airport, they found out that their flights have been cancelled. Has that situation got better today? Are passengers well informed about the cancellation before reaching the airport?
Well, Apurva, I'll like to tell my video journalist Dilip to show you the situation here at the airport. Not much of chaos what we were witnessing yesterday. Today, the operations have been largely calm here. The people who are coming here, though because of the social distancing norm and all other norms which have been put in place, they have been told to come a bit early. So that is there, but we are yet to find people who are saying that their flights have cancelled and they have not been intimated. Few people definitely came, but they said that they have been told about the clubbing of flights with other flights. So definitely they are expecting that the morning flight which was cancelled, that can be clubbed with the evening flight and they can go to their destined state. But for now, definitely the chaos that we saw yesterday at the airport, that is definitely not here today.
All right, so chaos remains a little less today as compared to what we saw on day one. Ayushman, request you to stay with us at this point. Let's also get in a quick update now as far as the Mumbai airport is concerned. Yesterday again, we saw a lot of chaos outside the Mumbai airport. Several passengers there waiting for some kind of announcement of their flights. Several of the flights there being cancelled. Today, we are given to understand 22 flights will be operating today. Let me go across to my colleague Neha Kulkarni, who's joining me live from the Mumbai airport, getting us all the updates there. Neha, good morning. Yesterday, we did see a lot of chaos there outside the Mumbai airport. What is the situation today? How many flights are operating? How many flights have got cancelled?
Good morning, Apurva, and to all our viewers. Yes, that's right. As similar to the situation at Delhi airport, even in Mumbai, the chaos and the crowd that was there at the departure gates has comparatively reduced. The situation is better, but as far as coming to the airport is concerned, the means remain very few for the people. If I can show you around, this is the departure gate which we are talking about. And till yesterday, the line was there till almost the end of the waiting gates. But as you can see, the situation has comparatively improved. People are being made to follow social distance and enter the gate. And most of the passengers who we spoke to have confirmed tickets only because they say that they have not received a confirmation of a cancellation from the airline. If we can show you this side around, Apurva. So as you can see, the departure area is quite huge. And here another layer has been formed wherein the security guards are checking the passengers and asking what is the time of their airline, what time is the flight schedule, because they are being allowed to go inside only 3 to 4 hours before the departure of the flight. And here, just to ensure that no crowding is happening by forming queues, and inside the boarding area, the people do not assemble in huge numbers. Here at all, there is a layer of checking being done so that only and only those who have flights 3 to 4 hours before are made to go inside. Now, having said that, while at the airport, the situation has been controlled, but coming to the airport and even going back home remains problematic because the public transport in the city remains paralyzed. There is no clear guidelines of what are the available means available for people to come to the airport area. And so we spoke to a lot of passengers and they claim to have said that getting available means of transport, including taxis and other available means, was difficult as far as even the morning is concerned. So that still remains an issue. Absolutely. As far as for passengers out of Mumbai.
So for Mumbai, we understand the local transport right now is a big concern for them to come to the airport or go from the airport continues to remain the biggest challenge there. Neha, I request you to stay with us. Let's also get in an update now coming in from the Bengaluru airport. Now, in Bengaluru, of the 73 flights that were scheduled for departure today, 23 have already been cancelled. Now, we understand that the flights have been cancelled due to uncertainty of airports resuming operations in several other states. So this, of course, remains a concern. While we did see some kind of chaos yesterday on day one, several of the passengers were first not even aware that they had to go through institutional quarantine as mandated by the Karnataka government. Let me bring in my colleague Neha Hebale, who's joining us with those updates there. Neha, what is the situation today as far as the Bengaluru airport is concerned? We do understand 23 flights have been cancelled. But if we were to compare to the situation yesterday, the kind of chaos that unfolded over the cancellation of the flights, is the situation better? Are passengers well informed?
Well, absolutely, Apurva. You know, the prime concern over here at the Bangalore airport remains the fact that many passengers were, unwilling to go into institutional quarantine. But that was yesterday. Now, today, of course, the situation, is much better. All of the passengers arriving from the 6 states that have been terribly affected have, made themselves more aware of the situation before their travel. What we're actually showing you is, in fact, passengers who have arrived from the 6 states, multiple flights that have actually come in, and all of these passengers would, be taken to the institutional quarantine. You can see the airport staff, each of them in PPE suits, ensuring that, these passengers are actually transported to the institutional quarantine centers, the multiple hotels across the city. Now, while of course that's what is on this side, on that side also, Apurva, if we can actually show you how the passengers are, choosing their option of, institutional quarantine. Now, remember that, at the Karnataka airport, there are multiple options that are given to the passengers depending on their budget. right to be able to choose what institutional quarantine center they want to go to, and this is mandated for 7 days for all those passengers who are arriving from Delhi, from Maharashtra, from Tamil Nadu, from Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and all of these, Rajasthan as well, the affected states. Now, this is being done in order to ensure the safety of the rest of the passengers as well. And this is how the procedure has been established over here at the Bangalore airport. From the morning, we've seen several flights arriving, but so far none of them have really complained about the institutional quarantine, because they were made very clear that this is the procedure, and if they're unwilling to undergo the institutional quarantine, that they should not even be traveling. So unlike yesterday, yes, the glitches have mostly been taken care of. Today it has been resolved, and people are really not complaining. But if you still talk about the crowd that's actually arriving, Apurva, on the other side where we were a little while earlier, at the departure where we were, there were several people that had actually queued up outside the airline counters, inquiring about their rescheduling, about cancellations, about booking inquiries. So largely it has been okay at the airport in Bangalore.
All right, so largely less chaotic, as Neha is pointing out, at the Bengaluru airport. Let's quickly get in an update now coming in from the Chennai airport at this point, where as many as 40 flights will operate today. Now, 20 flights are scheduled for arrival and 20 flights are scheduled for departure. So, 40 flights would be operating today. Pramod, coming to you for the latest as far as the Chennai airport is concerned. In these 40 flights that are scheduled to operate today, is there any information that is now out for the passengers as to how many of the flights have been cancelled, and have the passengers been well informed in advance?
Well, Chennai Airport is one place which had the capacity of handling 10 flights per day, and right now, just like you mentioned, we're having 20 inbound flights and 20 departure. And they have given all the list and all the kind of sorts of information have already been provided. And in the state of Tamil Nadu, the government has already mentioned that until 31st, it will be good if they actually keep the number of inbound flights below 25. And based on that, only the flight schedule has been given. In fact, there you have the flight schedule on the television, and it actually gives out, yesterday itself, the Chennai airport gave information about which are the 20 flights that has been scheduled for arrival and the 20 flights that has been scheduled for departure. So that way, they definitely have reduced the kind of confusion which you could see in various other airports. The passengers also claim, as we spoke to them, that they did not have any kind of problem based on transportation or after coming to Chennai, because you have certain kiosks that have also been installed over here. The only big issue when it comes to Chennai airport is that the passenger needs to get something called as Tamil Nadu e-pass, and there was a little bit of confusion. Many passengers claiming that the online portal was not updated for the questions that have been asked. And what has happened right now is that these tables have been set by the Tamil Nadu government inside the actual airport, and they are wearing PPEs and everything. And these people actually help the passengers. Once they arrive, they go to the desk and they provide the information. If they have their own cab, they can give the taxi vehicle's number, and if they want a cab from the airport, they can give that as well. So that way, that kind of confusion has also been reduced. Most importantly, the number of passengers that are arriving at Chennai airport is very, very less, and that's the reason for now we don't see any kind of chaotic situation that is breaking out in Chennai airport.
All right. So that, of course, remains the situation on ground of day 2 of the flights that have been obviously operational. We are, of course, looking at several cancellations that have also come in at this point. To all my colleagues joining us, Pramod, Neha Hebale, Neha Kulkarni and Ayushman, many thanks for joining us and getting us those important ground updates. Let's also get in further ground updates now coming in. Remember, Chennai Airport, as my colleague Pramod pointed out, is maintaining caution as domestic flights are resuming operations. Only limited flights are currently operational at the airport, and we do understand for the incoming passengers into Tamil Nadu, it is mandatory to register their details online and obtain something called as the Tamil Nadu e-pass through the government portal. My colleague Pramod Madhav gets us more details.
So behind us are the passengers who have arrived at Chennai airport, and you could see that they have to come to this kiosk where what they are doing is that they are collecting their data, and post which they will be given a stamp on their hand, which is actually a stamp which gives out the date and until what period they have to be in a quarantine. Or not just that, face shield is also given to certain passengers. That's the kind of stamp that they actually get in their hands, post which they have to be on a 14 days isolation or quarantine period. This is a kind of a mandatory you have a procedure that is being handled in Chennai airport. Many passengers are also carrying a face shield on their hand. You could see over there the passenger, once he gets cleared, he'll get that stamp, and post which he can leave the airport. But before that, he has to go to another kiosk where what happens is that he has to collect a pass for provided by the Tamil Nadu government. Thermal gun is also very important at this aspect, and that post all these procedures, they will get the e-pass. Only after that they can step out. Inside the Chennai airport, immediately when a passenger arrives, they have made to stand in maintaining social distancing. And what you could see over here is that on that side, one of the person who is wearing a personal protective equipment, he actually uses a thermal gun to check the temperature of the person, post which the person will go to the next counter where there is another person wearing a personal protection equipment, and that person carries a stamp. This is a stamp that actually carries a specific date, and once the person gets a stamp on the person's hand, the person will be undergoing 14 days of quarantine. It could be either home quarantine or various procedures that will be going to convey to them later, but this is the immediate process that occurs over there. Post which what the person does is that the passenger will then move to another kiosk where they can collect their e-pass, and this is how you enter Tamil Nadu, especially Chennai, and in that e-pass all details will be provided, and only after that they can enter the city. So this is the kind of measures that's been taken in the airport. Thermal gun to check the temperature, and then actual stamp on your hand, and in that you will have a specific date for to tell you what is the quarantine period. This is the procedure that's being currently occurring inside Chennai airport. With camera person Vijay Shekhar, Pramod Madhav for Mirror Now. Well, as a part of the standard operating procedure for Tamil Nadu, one thing has been made very important and certain, and that is that a passenger should carry something called e-pass, and that's what you could see over here. These are desks specifically made for the passenger to collect e-pass from here. Yes, you can apply it for online, but the same thing, without the e-pass you cannot step out of the airport. In fact, we have the airport director with us who can actually explain what it is to us. So what is an e-pass and why does a passenger need it?
So e-pass is basically a activity or protocol done by the Tamil Nadu government. So that e-pass is the facility you can have your pass online, basically from your originating station also, wherever you are in India or abroad, wherever. So since the lot of passengers, they are basically not aware or not able to make the e-pass, or they face some difficulties, or they don't have the internet facility or whatsoever. To help them, we have the 10 e-pass desks, 4 are here, 6 are that side. So they take all the details and everything by asking, not to without touching any phone or paper, etc. And then they make the e-pass and give them.
What plans have been made for the person who is coming to Chennai, and if the person needs a taxi or something, how can e-pass help them?
Yeah, that is what. So before e-pass, because they need the taxi number or the vehicle number by which the people are going, basically traveling. So for that we have made the additional taxi counters there. Since Chennai, Ola, Uber sort of aggregators are not available in this lockdown period, the airport taxi is only helping them basically. So we have made the additional counters for giving the taxis, etc. to the passengers, and that taxi number they will give here, and with the other details, and then e-pass will be made.
Right. Thank you so much. So what you see behind us is this as actually the e-pass, and these are the people who are wearing personal protection equipment to make sure that there is zero contact, and the airport, to assure the passengers that the airport is safe. Chennai airport is safe. They are wearing these PPEs, and they've been helping the passengers who come over here. They actually can give their information, and once it is done, they can collect an e-pass from here. Even if they do not have their own vehicle, they can book it from here. That detail will be fed into it, and the e-pass will be provided. This is how Tamil Nadu government's SOP is being operated over here. With this e-pass, they can actually enter the state easily. With camera person Vijay Shekhar, Pramod Madhav